There comes a time in a person's life when they ask themselves how have they remained productive for so long without a 12-inch stylus-wielding tablet with extremely high-resolution display like this one here. This is Daniel from PhoneArena presenting you the Galaxy Note Pro. It is the largest member of the Note family, and Samsung argues that the 12.2-inch Note Pro offers PC-like productivity in today's mobile age that blurs the lines between computing device segments. If we look at the specs of this Android tablet, they're certainly top-notch, but barely different than other high-end slates. Note Pro does have a larger display diagonal compared to the typical 10-inch tablet, and even if compared to the Tab Pro 12.2, it is one S Pen stylus ahead. But is that enough? Can it really compare to a small and light convertible with desktop-grade windows? Let's see what's on offer with the largest device in Samsung's Note portfolio. Samsung has used the artificial leather look with stitching accents that it pioneered with the Note 3 here. It arguably gives its electronic devices a more buttoned down and sophisticated look than sheer plastic. And if you have to say you can be fooled, it is a leather notepad looking from afar. It is still plastic, but nicer to the touch than the usual glossy coat. Glossy, however, is offering more traction for your hands as it just sticks to your fingers, whereas the back here is more slippery. There is a metallic looking rim surrounding the sides of the Note Pro, further adding to the more premium looks. The tablet manages to stay in the sub 8mm category, which is where all the catwalk stars of the tablet arena belong to. We'd say it is as compact as a 12-incher can get, while still leaving some bezel on the side for resting your thumbs during handling. For comparison, one of the closest competitors, the Sony Vaio Tap 11, sports an 11-inch display, but its volume is pretty close. The issue here is weight though. Samsung's largest tablet isn't feathery to carry around or keep in your hand for a long time, it's almost 2 pounds. Sony's Tab 11 weighs about the same, but it carries an Intel Haswell processor powering full desktop-grade Windows 8.1. When you tack on keyboard folios like the one Logitech introduced for the Note Pro, it starts to equate ultra-thin and light laptops, which carry much more oomph than this huge tablet. We get Samsung's excellent S Pen stylus with the Note Pro, which sits tucked neatly in a silo at the top right corner of the slate, ready to alternate your productivity urges with doodling sprees. It is very easy to take out or push back in, yet feels snug and not wobbly in the silo. The S Pen itself is pretty ergonomic and easy to handle, with an action button that is comfortably situated with good tactile feedback. Samsung is betting on a very high-resolution display, which not many devices with this screen diagonal are able to offer it. At this resolution, the 12.2-inch panel crams 4 million pixels on its surface. At almost 250 ppi, this is the most pixel density you can currently get from a 12-incher, and that is more than enough, so you won't notice any detail imperfections from a normal viewing distance, of course. We examined it with a macro lens, and it seems to be of the pentile variety. The pixels are arranged in a diagonal diamond matrix that is different from the standard stripe RGB one. You can only notice that looking very closely at solid colors and if you know what to look for. Samsung calls the new screens Super Clear LCD, which is a term used for its LCD screen since the dawn of the original Galaxy S. So don't get your hopes high, it is a brand new screen technology, much different than the POS LCD panels on Samsung's high-resolution tablets of late. The screen comes with several color presentation modes to choose from, such as movie or dynamic, which change the image characteristics like color saturation. Colors look most natural in the normal mode, while dynamic flares them up quite a bit. The display's black levels are a tad too bright, appearing grayish and washed out, which worsens with the change in viewing angles, diminishing contrast. Peak brightness is pretty high, and the panel's reflectivity coating is good, which makes the screen rather visible outdoor, even in direct sunlight. The tablet ships with the newest Android 4.4 KitKat, but Samsung's TouchWiz Nature UX interface we're accustomed to has been given a fresh coat of paint. So fresh in fact that it has received a different moniker, Magazine UX, indicating a brand new tablet-oriented interface. Apart from that, we get a completely overhauled system font and iconography with flatter rounded icons in various colors. The Magazine UX overlay is akin to a traditional printed publication face, and this impression is enhanced further by the largest screen diagonal. It offers a tiled layout called Dashboard for categorizing your favorite content in terms of news feeds. That's powered by Flipboard, social networking updates, or frequently used apps. Those tiles can be various sizes, vertical, horizontal, and they can serve as static widgets, throwing info and notifications at you, or be interactive, letting you scroll within the sections. Traditional home screens, where app shortcuts and third-party widgets can be placed, are still available, should you prefer using these instead. But if that's the case, you might be a bit disappointed to learn that at least one magazine screen has to remain enabled. As we mentioned above, many features found in the previous TouchWiz versions like Smart Stay Blocking Mode, as voice and knocks haven't been omitted. Furthermore, we get a new multi-window mode, as you can now split the screen in not 2 but 4 different resizable sections, which comes pretty useful on account of the large screen real estate. You can also open up to 5 applications in pop-up view, windowed mode that floats above every home or menu screen underneath, aiding multitasking significantly and reminding of desktop windows. In addition, the Galaxy Note Pro will ship with a selection of preloaded apps, content and services. Not all of them will be available in all regions, but in general Samsung is throwing a free or limited access subscription to most of those. Since with the Note Pro we also get the excellent S Pen stylus with Wacom digitizer, its features further contribute to the stellar array of input options that comes with the tablet. All the bells and whistles that come with Samsung stylus are present, like Air View and Air Command, Action Memo, the scrapbook clipper. This pen window mode is also very handy for calling and hovering up anywhere on the display, as you can predetermine the window size and placing simply by drawing a random shape on the display with the S Pen. In addition, the stylus is optimized to work in the browser gallery or calendar, for example, letting you easily clip and annotate info, draw on pictures or scribble down events. Moreover, Samsung includes a few excellent S Pen tailored apps with its note line like S Note or Sketchbook for Galaxy that lets you write, sketch, draw or paint with various virtual pens and brushes. Depending on whether you want LTE connectivity with your Galaxy Note Pro or not, the tablet ships with 2 different chipsets. One is the new true octa-core 1.9 GHz Exynos, which can have all 8 cores firing up at once. It pushes those 4 sections of the multi-window mode with ease. The LTE version comes with the no less powerful quad-core Snapdragon 800, clocked at the respectable 2.3 GHz. These chipset alternatives won't leave you longing for more, no matter how you stress the Note Pro, as they're currently the fastest kids on the block, but not future-proof though. Samsung went the extra mile and equipped the tablet with 3 GB of RAM. The company knows full well that with this screen real estate and resolution, you might be using the split screen and pen window modes more often than on a regular tablet, running a number of productivity and entertainment apps at once. Samsung also stepped it up on the storage front, starting the Note Pro at 32 GB, of which 26 are user available, instead of the typical 16 GB that today's larger Android slates wield. Of course, this being a Samsung tablet, you also get a microSD slot for storage expansion, which takes up to 64 GB capacity cards. Samsung's stock browser has received a minimalistic overhaul, but the Adobe Flash support has gone with the Note Pro's default Android 4.4 KitKat version. We already mentioned that there is an Exynos 5 Octa of the Note Pro, which can be Wi-Fi only or carry an HSP Plus radio with up to 21 megabits per second downloads. The Note Pro version with Snapdragon will be able to get on your carrier's fast 4G LTE network. As for the other radios, the Note Pro doesn't skip a beat, sporting Wi-Fi Direct All Sharecast, Bluetooth 4.0 infrared and GPS with GLONASS. Wired connectivity is taken care of the microSD port in the 3.2 standard, ensuring very fast transfer of files to and from the slate. The gallery offers a split screen view with folders on the left and their content shown in grid preview on the right. The tablet offers very rich editing options, which are enhanced further with stylus-friendly features to draw and annotate on your photos. Most manufacturers stopped support for DivX encoded videos recently, and Samsung is no exception. You can play MKV and XVID videos in up to 1080p resolution with the Note Pro stock player, but not DivX ones. That can be easily remedied with a trip to the Play Store though. Video playback looks beautiful on the huge and luminant high-res display, so watching movies or other footage is one of the selling points for this tablet. Your Tunes catalog gets a new minimalistic tabbed layout in a conservative but very readable black and white color scheme. The player's controls themselves have received a minimalistic redraw too, though these keep Samsung's bluish color scheme. The Note Pro has a number of sound modes and equalizer presets, while the 2 stereo speakers on the sides are powerful, but the output is not particularly full or clean. The 8-megapixel camera on the rear of the Note Pro is of the autofocus variety and comes accompanied by an LED flash. Featuring zero shutter lag, it takes advantage of the numerous shooting and scene modes the typical Samsung camera interface offers, such as panorama, HDR, sports, night, and so on. You also get a 2 megapixel front-facing shooter, which does 720p video recording. The photos come out nice, with amount of detail akin to the resolution. Contrast seems to receive a slight boost in auto mode compared to the actual scene, resulting in more intensive colors, and overall frame that often appears a tad underexposed. When you shoot contrasting scenes, we'd recommend to use the rich tone HDR mode of the tablet, which does a fine job of toning down bright objects and highlighting the shadows at the same time. Indoors, the tablet also performs well with accurate color representation and minimal blur when you hold the tablet steady. Visible noise creeps up only in the darkest of scenes, and the LED flash does a decent job illuminating the scene from a 5 feet distance. The Note Pro records 1080p video with 30 frames per second, and the footage stays fluid regardless of the light around without noticeable artifacts. Exposure compensation is fast when you pan around with a tablet, but shooting video with a 12-incher is, needless to say, a funky experience. Samsung was rumored for a while to enter the 12-inch tablet arena, and it did indeed with the Note Pro and the Tab Pro 12.2, betting on the large display that allows easier multitasking and the additional input options granted by the S Pen stylus. Samsung says the Note Pro offers a PC-like productivity. However, with grand screen size comes grand weight. Anything over a pound or so is considered too heavy in the day and age of the iPad Air and the Tablet Z fashion models, while the Note Pro here weighs almost 2. The big and heavy slate is thus limited in portability, which is the whole point of carrying around a tablet. When you tack on cases, keyboard folios or other accessories, you might be better off with a Windows 8.1 Ultrabook or convertible, some of which weigh less than a Note Pro, with a keyboard like Sony's Vaio Pro line, for example, and they offer more. Samsung has priced the basic Note Pro at the respectable $750, and the price will climb up should you go for the LTE version. A more functional alternative would be the Sony Vaio Top 11, for example, which starts at $800 and weighs as much. It also sports a keyboard and a stylus within that price, but it comes with a desktop-grade Windows, not to mention the 120 gigs of storage. If a 12-inch tablet defeats the purpose for you, going down to the 10-inch realm will reveal plenty of excellent states. With more manageable footprint than this one here, in the $400–500 range you can get most good Android or iOS slates like the iPad Air or Samsung's own Note 10.1 if you have to have a tucked-in S Pen. Finally, if your job or hobby requires a pretty large tablet display that is still somewhat portable, the Note Pro might entice you with its excellent suite of apps and multitasking abilities, with its high-resolution display and the S Pen stylus modes. For most users, however, it seems destined to remain a niche device. This was Daniel from PhoneArena presenting you the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro tablet. For more information about this and other slates, you can visit us at PhoneArena.com.